friendly as Dash of Dave. He'll take some scraps and bits of this, turn them into something you can't miss. Junk journals, tapes, and crafts galore. He'll have you begging, show me more. Oh, Dash of Dave, oh, what a sight. Mixing colors, day and night.
Hello everyone, my name's Dash of Dave and I am back for another crafty video. I don't know why it's turned into a jingle, but it has. Anyway, so, I don't know, I have no idea. Anyway, today we are going to make this or something like this. So I've got a prototype here. So this is my little spinning journal thing. So you've got a little card here that spins, and then we've got inside, we've just got a little bit of, journaling space. I was inspired by autumn when I was making my little sample. This is my little prototype, which is not inspired by anything other than craft card. Yeah, so we're going to make one of them. It's quite easy. I'm going to make it in a utilitarian style. And we will go from there. So, right, okay. So, what are you going to need? First of all, so this is made to be a 5x7 card. So, if you're making a 5x7, you are going to need a piece of card that measures. Sorry, don't keep hitting the product, Dave. You're going to need a piece of card that measures. Wait for it. 7x10. Because you're going to fold it in half, which makes it 7x5 or 5x7, however you prefer to say it. So I think I am going to make the substrate. Doesn't really matter because I'll put both on anyway. That doesn't work as a jingle, so don't try it. Don't try this at home, people. Right, let's get this cut in half. So I'm just going to cut this in half for the time being, and then we'll cut it down to size in a guillotine of our choice, or a paper cutter of our choice even. This is not the blade you are looking for. This is the blade you are looking for. So it is, for me, today is Sunday the 14th of September. I always say, oh blimey, because I never remember to look at the actual date. It's the 14th of September, so as always, filming this in advance. I do have a little bit of a sniffle today. Also, got terrible ear infection on my, whatever hand this is, right side. And I'm starting to get conjunctivitis in my right eye as well. Lucky me. I know, I'm just so lucky. I can't help it. Shame I didn't put the lottery on. Anyway, right, let's get on with this, Dave, because let's just get on with this. That's because why? Because so I will cut this down to, there you go. Did I do that right? That is 10, isn't it? Isn't it? No, it is, Dave. Okay, so we might use the other bits for other things. But we're just going to score this in half, so I'm going to use my little one because we only need to score it at 5. What shall we have on the inside? It doesn't really matter if we are folding it like that. I don't know why the singing is here. Oh, by the way, talking of singing, I have been listening to, started with my jukebox in my head, playing a selection of 70s songs, and then I ended up listening to some 70s disco. I miss the 70s disco days because I used to do, this is my guilty secret, and not many of my friends even know this, but I used to do roller disco. And I used to be very good at it. I could do all of the moves. Didn't know what any of them were called, but I could do all of them. Because I didn't do it with anybody, so I didn't learn from anybody. I just watched other people and tried to emulate it, and got a few scrapes and bruises and things in the process, but did a good job of it. Don't think I could do any of it now, but nobody's testing me, so that's all that matters. So anyway, we've got this piece that is, I'm just warning you because there may be some 70s singing throughout the video, or things all creep into my head or whatever. So this now measures 7 by 5 or 5 by 7, and you just want to make sure that it's fairly, you know, thick. That's the reason why this piece is just a single piece, but this other one, because this card wasn't particularly thick, I just put a matted layer on it just to give it a bit more rigidity. This one, I don't know, do we want a matted layer on this? I like the contrast as well, so if I put a mat of a craft card on here, then I can make the next bit also in this. Maybe we'll do that. Shall we do that? Let's do that. So the next piece that you're going to need, which is this piece. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that it measures 5 wide, because this measures 5 wide. So let's just make sure that these are two the same size. As you can see, they are. So you want this piece to be 5 wide, okay, but then we're going to cut it to, so we're going to go 5 by 6, because this measures 3, this bit. And if you don't believe me, then there you go. Nah, told you. Anyway, don't know where the school playground stuff has come from, but that can go back, can't it? So we're going to measure it. We're going to cut it at 3. So no, we're not going to cut it at 3. What did I just say? We said 5. We're going to cut it at 5, and then we're going to cut it at 6, and then we're going to score it in half along the longer length, so which is the 6. Let's get my board back. Pop that on there. Find that tool that needs to be on an elastic band or a rubber band or whatever. Score a line, fold it in half, and that is our next piece. So that is going to be the layer that gets matted onto it. You can take a bit more time over yours and actually get yours to actually line up, but you know, mine, I'm happy with that. It's fine. The next thing you're going to need is you're also going to need a piece that measures 2.5 by 4. So, and that, it doesn't matter what colour this piece is. So let's just see what this one measures. It's a little under 2.5. We can cope. What is that? 2.25. I can cope with 2.25. It's fine. If you've got a piece that measures 2.5, use 2.5. In fact, I will do that. I will do it in at 2.5 to satisfy those people saying you just said and then didn't do. So that's 2.5, and we want it by 4. And this is not, you're not going to see this. It's functional, but it's not going to be seen. So you don't have to use any of the card that you've previously been using. You can just use a piece that will just do what you need. And what that's going to be is that's going to be the bit that's mounted on the back that helps you create the functional bit. Okay, so now what we need to do is so you're going to have to make a hole in this. Okay, so this is a 1-inch punch. Now I can't put a hole in the middle of this because the reach of this punch isn't sufficient. If you have one that can do that, or you've got one of those anywhere punches that punches a 1-inch hole, then you do that. If you don't have that, you might have a thing, one of these. What's this called? Die Dave. Okay, so you'll see here that mine is just a bit bigger than 1 inches. Now, I don't have a smaller version of this, so I'm going to work with this. So mine is actually 1.25. I'm telling you 1 inch because that's going to make things a lot easier when you're measuring. But if you've got a 1.25 inch punch hole maker, the hole maker. If you've got a 1.25 inch hole maker, stop saying hole maker, Dave. Die, then use a hole maker. Should I just stop now? If you've got a 1.25 inch die, then use a 1.25 inch die. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to find the middle of this. So there is a bit of measuring, but because we've got a 4-inch width, then we know what the half of 4 is, and that's 2. Okay, so you're going to do your 2, and you want to do that in a couple of places, at least 2, but I usually measure and mark in 3 places, and then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line. And the reason why I do 3 is because sometimes one of them is a little bit out, and then you can say, well, this one is a little bit out. Why is that one a little bit out? Is that because you didn't do it on the 2-inch line, Dave? Oh no, you did. So which one of these is also out then? Well, that's weird. None of them. Okay, we're going to go with the biggest common denominator, which is those 2. So draw a line through the middle, okay, and then we also want to do a line through the middle the other way. So this is 2.5, so that we know that half of 2 is 1, and half of half is a quarter. So this is 1 1/4 is your middle line. So 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4. And then again, we're just going to draw those, put a line through those. Now, if you have a 1-inch circle, then this is going to be really easy for you. All you're going to do is put your mark on the 1/2-inch line. There's the 1/2-inch line there, and you're going to mark either side at 1 inch. At 1/2 an inch this side and 1/2 an inch this side, and that gives you a full 1-inch dimension. However, I do not have that, so I have already cheated and marked mine on the ruler, which means that I am doing 5/8 and then 5/8. So I'm doing 5/8 of an inch, which is this. So I put it on the 5/8 of an inch line, and 5/8 of an inch that way, and then 5/8 of an inch that way brings it to 1 1/4. Sorry. So I'm doing that, and then I'm going to do that again in 3 places, just so that I have got these all in the right place. Because you do want your circle to be in the middle, and the reason why you want it to be in the middle is when you turn it round, what you want is when you're turning it round, it lines up again the other way. If it was out, if it was not in the middle, it might be square one way round, then when you turn it round, it might be sticking out one side. And that's the reason why we are doing it like this. Now, you know, I like a bit of measuring and a bit of jiggery pokery. You know, I like a bit of I like things with a kinetic element to them. So all we're going to do is we're going to draw a line between those, and the reason for all of this is just so that we can get our die in the middle. Like I say, if you've just got a 1-inch die, then you can do it with 1/2 an inch either side of the middle line that you've just made for yourself. Now we're going to do it the other way around, the other orientation. So again, we're going 5/8 of an inch one side, 5/8 of an inch the other side, in 3 places. We might as well use those lines that we've already got. 5/8, 5/8, and as you can see, I've already marked this on my ruler. Well, I don't know whether you can see, but I've got a pencil line here that denotes the middle of the 5/8. Sorry, the 5/8 and the middle line, and then this is 5/8 the other way. I've got a pen line there, so that just means that I didn't have to tilt my head into shot every 20 seconds trying to see where those lines are. So let's draw those lines in. Okay, cool. So this now is roughly a square. It's not perfect, but it's perfect enough. And now that means then we can sit that in that space, and we know that we've got that in the middle. So all you're going to need now is a bit of washi tape. And because it's not going to be seen, it doesn't matter if it pulls the surface off a little bit. So don't worry about it if you find your washi tape is a bit sticky. But even if you do, just stick it onto a bit of fabric and pull it off, and it will have picked up enough fibres to stop it from sticking to your cardboard too viciously. We don't want it to be vicious, do we? Its name is not Sid, so Sid Vicious? Okay. You're too young to know. So I'm going to use my sidekick because it's nice and small and handy. You can use whatever you have. So pop that in there. This, and the other reason why I chose a 2.5 inch width is I knew it fitted on this plate. So although again, you don't want it to be seen. So if you had it 3 wide, it might just hang over either side of this, and you don't want to see the inner mechanisms. You want it to be magic, not obvious. Okay, so now we've moved those out of the way, we're going to just peel this off as gently as we can. But like I say, if it just pulls the surface off like that, nobody's going to see it. And because of that, we don't even need to rub out the pencil lines, because nobody's going to see them. How will they know? No one's going to know. How will they know? That stupid thing from, I think that was TikTok or whatever. Now I'm just going to round the corners, and that's just because it means then you don't see them sticking out anywhere either. If you get your centering wrong, you won't really need to do this, but you know, if you want to, do it. I mean, like, you know, you're going to have to get your centering really wrong in order for them to stick out. So what we now need is we need some slimmer bits of card. Now you need it to be about 1/4 inch wide, and you're going to need it, you're starting off with it around 2 inches in length. It doesn't need to be exactly that. So again, these are inner workings, you're not going to see them. Don't fret about, is it the right size? Am I going to do it the right size? It doesn't matter, because I tell you now, it doesn't matter. So we'll cut it at 2. So, okay, and then what you want is, like I say, 1/4 inch cut, move it along, 1/4 inch, and you want 4 of these. And then you're just going to take those off your board, off your cutter. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold these in half. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter if they're not quite in half. Mine aren't quite in half. If they don't have to match, you are not going to see them. They are just going to help you do the functionality. Okay, you just want to fold them all in half. And once you've done that, the next thing you are going to do is you're going to pop them on here. Now, you're going to pop them so that you've got this nice crosshair now. You've got a top and a bottom, and you've got a left and a right, okay? You're just going to pop them within that space. The first thing, though, what you want to do is you just want to sit them over the top and the bottom ones. Now, we know that our piece of card that's going to sit on here is 3 inches. Once we put that in the middle, that will hang over the edge. So what we want to do now is we want to just trim off any excess that overhangs. Now, it only has to be an approximate, but you want it to sit outside of the circle, but within the parameter of this piece of functional card. Okay, so once you've done one, you can just do that, hold all the others up against it, and just cut them all to the same length. And then that's why I say just start with 2. It doesn't have to be exactly 2 inches, because you're going to be cutting stuff off anyway. But it's much easier to cut some off than it is to start with a piece, ends up being too small, and then you think, oh, should I use another piece? And then you're using lots of pieces of card. So there we go. So we've got all of these 4, okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to pop them in, like I say, the top and the bottom orientation. And as we do that, what else we're going to do is we're going to use our washi tape that we had a couple of minutes ago. We're going to tear that down the middle and the other way, and we're just going to use that to keep that all in place. So push it right up to the, so that the fold catches the edge of the cut circle, and stick that on there. And then you're going to do the bottom one, and we just want it to be so it sits over that pencil line there. I'll stick that one down. Oh, I didn't rip that one in half. That's because that's me being silly. Rip that piece in half because I need 4 pieces. Yeah, and then we're going to put the left one on. I was just about to say the left one, and I thought, is that my left? And it is. Luckily, I got that right. If you're asking for directions, I'm not going to get it right. So, and then pop that one on there, and stick that one down with a bit of washi tape. Now that's just a temporary hold, because what you're doing is you're just holding it so that you've got these, we flip it over and you've got these now sticking out. Don't you just love it when you get a knock at the door just at the most inconvenient time? Anyway, back to this. So now what we've got is we've got our, we've stuck these temporarily down, and we've got these free on the other side. What's going to happen is this is going to glue to the back of here, but don't rush ahead. You need to wait until I've done. Now what we want to do is we want to find the middle of this piece of card so that we can get this in the middle of this. So we know that this is 5 inches wide, so we know that half of 5 is 2.5. So we're just going to put 2.5 inch line markings on this. So like I say, there's a bit of measurement going on here, but nothing that is too daunting. It's not like we're not doing micrometer measurements. So a line through the middle, and then we're going to do the other way, which is 7. So that's going to be 3.5. Half of 7 is 3.5. It's good for your maths going on here, or math if you are, I don't know, is it just Americans that say math, or is it other parts of the world that say math? Canada, is it math or maths? I don't know. I am asking you because you will tell me. I'm convinced of that. Okay, where did I put that line? Just make that a bit clearer because I can't see that. That one, and that one, and that's the middle of there. Okay, so now we've got this crosshair, and what we're going to do is we're going to line this up onto here. Now, admittedly, you can't see the top and the bottom of the crosshair, but you can see the one here. So you've got this line here and this line here. You just want to make sure that goes in that bit there. And then you want to get the rest of it sort of on that line. So you can just lift up your little tab here, and you can see my line is on the line that's that side, and is it on the line this side? Yes, it is. It's fine. Okay, so we need to glue this bit down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to glue these tabs, just the tabs. We're not going to glue the whole of it. We're just going to glue the tabs. So I'm just going to get my glue, and you can put a line of glue on these tabs. You don't want too much so that it squirts out and then glues the whole thing down. You just want enough to have glued those tabs. And again, we're going to just then line it up, use those top and bottom crosshair, use the, oh, if it comes off then just stick it back on for temporarily. Top and bottom in the right place. Yeah, sides in the right place. Yeah, and then we're going to glue these down, these tabs. So just stick those down. So you're just going to press on this side and stick them down. Okay, so you want to make sure that they make full contact. Put something heavy on them just to make sure it makes contact. Okay, then we are going to prep our next piece. So that's our smaller piece of card that's going on the front. Don't we want a mat on the front of it? I don't know. I think we possibly will. So I didn't put a mat on this one, but I think I'm going to put a mat on this one, and I'm just going to use a piece of card that is available to me, rather than worrying about what size it is. So when it's 5 by 3, so this is 4.5, and we'll do this by 2.5 then, and then we'll get the same perimeter, border even, and then we're going to just round off these edges, corners even. So if you want to do any kind of inking to this, this is your time. Okay, so we're gonna, if we want to ink round the edge of this, and do it now before we get carried away, because once you've stuck it down, it's going to be really hard for you to ink it. So, but I appreciate that not everybody likes inking everything. Certainly not everybody likes inking it to the level that I do, but hey, we are ourselves. We are our. I still can't even say it. We are. I am what I am. Just put it that way. I am my own special creation. See, there you go. That's a bit of a. That was a 70s song, wasn't it? I am what I am, and what I am. I might not need any excuses, but I do sometimes need an explanation. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to round the corners of this, because I quite like the idea of that. So I'm just going to round that corner, round this corner. Now I realise when you do that on an opening join, you get a weird edge, but I don't mind that. It's not like we're cutting away too much of that join that it's going to fall apart. And then anything where it's kind of, for some reason, my trimmer cuts with a bit of a wonky line sometimes, and I think if you're matting something to it, you notice that wonky line more. So, okay, pop that. We're going to pop that on there. Again, we're going to ink it before we do that, and that means then we've given all of that a nice chance to dry. So, because you really want those tabs to be stuck down, they are going to need to be stayed stuck. You need them to have stuck. We're going with that. I don't know. Just don't ask me. They just need to be stuck down it. Right, okay, I'm going to do the inside as well, because I think I'm probably going to do like I did on that other piece, and put like a journaling spot in here. You could of course make a window in the front of this, or you can change it up and use, you can use whatever card you like, some decorative cards, something pretty. You could put anything on, as long as you're putting it on the surface of here. You're not going to be able to stick much to the back of it, because it will interfere with the mechanism. But you don't need to do any inking to the back. Nobody's really going to see it. It doesn't hang out either side, so if you look at this, it doesn't hang out really much over either side, other than when you've got it on a diagonal and you can see the corners. So if you really want to be fussy, that's what the other thing for cutting the corners off is, just stops it hanging out so much. But if you want to just do the very corners, so you know that when it turns round you don't see the raw card, okay, then you can. So move that away. So now these tabs should all be stuck down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue this to here. Right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the middle of this. Okay, so it's going to be harder for you to get the middle of this going left to right, because you don't have a line on which to line it up. If you want to cut this a bit smaller and have it so it sits in the middle, then that's entirely up to you, and that way then you can put a crosshair on this. But the thing I usually do is I will line it up with my 3.5 inch line this way, and that way then when I put this down, I know where my 3.5 inch line is, which is here, that it's then going to sit in the middle of there. So we'll do this again. So like I say, this one measures 3 by 5.5. So we know this is 2.5, because half of 5 is 2.5. It was a few minutes ago. It is now. And I think maybe for all of eternity, it will still be 2.5. So 2.5 line, we're going to put that in. And then we're going to do the same. Not the same again. We're going to do this way, which is 3 now. So that's 1.5. Okay. Sorry, I have to go backwards and forwards because I can't see where the lines are. And the only line, my brain's going, draw on the line with the pen mark on, but I know that that is not 1.5. So there we go. That's our crosshair now. So when we're sticking this down, we want to make sure that it sits, that crosshair sits in the middle of that line, which we know because it's going to be lined up left to right, which it is. And then we're going to put it on this line, and we want to line this crosshair, this one, up with this line here. So you just want to make sure that it lines up like this, because what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our washi tape off it now. In fact, I think I might need to move mine up a bit because you won't be able to see it otherwise. You won't. I think it's centered to the middle of the mat rather than to the bottom edge of the mat. So there we go. So let's move this up so you can see it. So I will sit it on here. And now my middle is, pop that down there. My middle line is this line here. So this is my middle line. It's this line here. So I'm gonna let's just put a bit of washi tape on that line so you know which line I'm centering to. So it's this one that I'm centering it to. Okay. And what we're going to do now is we're not going to glue the tabs because then it'll just stop it from spinning. You're going to glue either side of this piece here. So this piece should be free unless it's been glued down by some of the excess glue, which it has. So just make it free if it has. There you go. Cool. So this should spin now, which it does. Okay. You need to make sure the tabs are going to go flat. You don't want them bending the inside. And then we are going to glue just either side. We want to make sure that it stays away from these flaps, so we're just going to glue just on the right and on the left, to the left, to the right. That's not a 70s song, but it's sometimes in my head. Okay, anything that's really close to the edge that's quite a big blob of glue, just kind of just wipe it away, because otherwise you'll end up with it being stuck down. And now we're going to put this, say, we're just going to make sure our tabs flatten down as we put them down, and we're going to go line it up left to right, line it up top to bottom, and then we're going to glue it down. So I'm just going to press down on those edges. So then we've got that is now stuck down. So now what we need to do is we just need to remove our pencil line. So just lift it just gently up, hold it down in the middle and lift it up a little bit so you can get that pencil line, but that way you're not peeling it up or pulling it out of position. And then you can spin this round and do the same. So lift it up a little bit, rub that bit out, lift it up a little bit, rub that bit out. Okay, that's your crosshair lines are all rubbed out, and then you can do the same on the front bit. Okay, just get rid of all of those little rubbings out, and then there we go, we have now our card that now spins on its little axis. So any glue that's kind of squeezed out anywhere, you can just mop up, just make sure it doesn't glue itself down on those pieces of glue. But there we go, we've got a nice little spinning card. So let's decorate this one. So we will do, I don't know why I'm bothering taking my time to do that glue, but I did. So I will just put that into the middle. I think I'm going to replicate that same rounded corner all the way around. So I was just thinking, or I might not, it depends on whether it'll go through the punch, but it does, that's fine. And it just adds a little bit of interest. So now the other thing is you can have it in either orientation, entirely up to you which way round you have. You could have it this way round, or you could have it this way round. You could turn it into a card. I mean, you know, a lot of this has come from my card making days, so my techniques. But you'll see now it spins round, and it should now be in the middle when you turn it round, which it is. Which is great. It all lines up nicely. We can put our mat on, which we will. In fact, I'm just going to go a little bit closer in with a bit of colour, just so we don't see this, just the raw colour behind. We'll pop that on there. Yeah, and then we will decorate it. So, how are we going to decorate it? Well, I don't know. It's entirely up to you or me. In my case, it's up to me. In your case, it's up to you. I'm going to pop that on there, just kind of get it in the middle. Bit of an eyeballing show. An eyeballing show. Okay, so let's do some stuff to it. Let's do some stuff. Okay, so let's cover it in let's get some labels. We could do some labels. We can do some labels from these are Tracy's labels. So the Tracy sent me all of the nice stuff, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll try and remember to link it, but I don't always remember. Oh, actually, so these are from Corrie that sent me these. So I quite like the idea of, I like the juxtaposition. Oh, I love that word. It is in one of my word. So I'm releasing a kit with words in, and juxtaposition is on there because it's one of those fab words that I really like. So do I like, oh I do, I quite like the way it kind of hangs off. I might trim it off on that edge. Which way around should we have it? So, or do we have it like that? No, I like it like that. Or do I like it like that? Quite like it like that, actually. So I might trim it off this edge. But I think I'm going to use that. We could have... That's a nice bit of just a tag that goes down there. Maybe something like that. Or we could have that kind of sticking out over the top. Or quite like that kind of composition. And then I could have a word. Exciting. You know me. It doesn't take much to get me excited. I'm just going to have a drink of my chai latte. So this won't apply to most of you. But if you have moustache, it's a bit of a pain when you have a frothy drink because it's all in your moustache and you don't want it to dribble onto all of your work. So I like this because it's got like not just similar colours, but also it's got that kind of complementary colour. But you know, I don't like a white edge, so let's get rid of the white edge. And that way then it'll blend in nicely. So And we want that one on first, don't we? Let's get that kind of in the place where we want it. And then what I'll do, have it like that. Yes, right, okay, what I'll do is I'm just going to lift this bit up and glue this to here. That way then, when I pick it all up, it's all glued together and I don't have to worry about it. Don't have to worry about the placement of it. Let's try and get the glue actually on the thing, Dave. So, like I say, Buffalo Girls, they go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. So, and we do exactly the same with the glue. Just go around the outside. And a bit of a wiggle in the middle. I don't know whether... Is it Nena Cherry that sang that? I don't know whether she did a bit of a wiggle in the middle. Bit of a wiggle in the middle. And we'll pop that on like that. So I want it to sit within the boundary. I know it hangs down a bit further now, and when I put this on it might not leave me space for a word down here, but I can have a word up there instead. Woohoo! Yeah, so I'm going to have that on there. Yes, that's good, 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 it's good. So we'll have that on there. We'll ink that edge as well. Could have a little person. Sorry. I'm sorry. We could have a little person on there, because I've got lots of little people, but I don't have a lot of big people, which is another thing that I'm planning. Another little kit of people. So, because you know what I was saying about not having enough big single people. Says the whole world over, there aren't enough single people to go around. Do I have little ones? I did have little ones. Where are my little people? I mean, like, by little people, I don't mean just kids. Oh, there you go. There's the little people. Although there do seem to be a lot of kids in this. Right, let's pull a few out and see. Could they be on there? Oh, don't wipe that in your thing, Dave. Could you be sat on there, or do we want a people? We want a single person. We don't want somebody sat, because they make it much more difficult. Oh, we could have a double people, but they can be stood. Oh yeah, double people stood. Fine, I'm happy with that. So let's glue this bit down. No, picking a thing up that doesn't exist on my finger. I was picking it up and it wasn't there. I will ink the edges of these folks. Trying to bend her legs off. I'm sure she'd be appreciative of that, me not bending her legs off. I'll stick that down. It's all about the composition, not the base. There we go. Pop them on there. Okay, might put you back in there for a minute. Let's see. Well, we might have you back out again in a minute, but we'll see. And we could do with, I did say a word, and where are the words? There they are. Trying to reach for them, that's because they don't come easy to me. It's an old joke. But it's a good one. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Oh, there you go. That's so inspiring. So inspiring. So these are what I think these were Leonie Purgel, her collection. They've completely lost their sticky of it. Outfit of the day. This is my jam. I love it when couldn't take enough pics of. I mean, like, this is the right sort of colour. That just happened. That was a first. Our family. One last moment. What's this one saying? Behind the scenes? Maybe a behind the scenes? Oh, let's stick that. Yeah, let's stick that on there because it's kind of relevant, isn't it? You know, we know how this has been made, so we've got a behind the scenes view. And also, I need to use these up because they have no sticky left on them. They were stuck to this thing, but they're not stuck anymore. So we will do that. I'm just gonna do that across the top of his hat, and she can be over the top. Possibility of it going over the top. Lol. Sorry, I picked up lol as I said lol. Might keep so inspiring out. Let's just put those to one side. Shall we have something on here? So you do have a little bit of leeway on the base bit. Let's just trim these off, by the way, before we kind of get. Probably do it this way around and be easier. I mean, you could always decide what you're going to have on it before you actually glue it down, but nobody wants to see me make it that way around. They want to see me make how to make the substrate and then leave it to get on with the rest. So on here you can have a certain amount. You can't have too much. You've got to give it a bit of space to kind of spin round. So try and stick to things that are going to be quite, you know, flat. You can have, or if you are going to put dimensional things on it, make sure that you put the dimensional things on first before you stick this on, and that way then you can give yourself room for that. But I'm going to do, like I say, nobody wants to see me do it that way around because it's not particularly fun. So titbits. Have titbits on there. So you are going to find that if it doesn't, you don't glue it down particularly well, if it sticks up at that edge, you'll find that this will like kind of just catch on it every time. So it's catching, but just bear that in mind when you're sticking it down. Stick it fully down on the edge that sits underneath it. So I'm going to stick titbits on tidbits. Yeah. Because I quite like that, and so like I said, I'm just going to glue that edge well. However, you don't want it to ooze out and stop it from spinning, because you run the risk of it gluing the mechanism down. I didn't ink it. What is wrong with me? So I'm going to stick that on there, and then I'm just going to press that edge down before I move on. Just want to make sure it runs free now. Young hearts. Run free. We'll do tidbits, and we will have something else up the top here, I guess. So what can we get in there that is gonna fit? Funny, hello. So inspiring. We might have a little grouping of things there, and I'm going to put so inspiring on that bit. Let's just do that bit up. Oh, I don't want a person. I have a little person. Sorry, Dave. Shut up. Shut up, Dave. Give it a rest for 5 minutes. Okay, right. We have a couple with dogs. So I like a little doggy. Oh, there's a smaller version. Let's have the tiny one. The teeny tiny Tim with a dog called Tom. I don't know what the dog's called. It's just a dog, isn't it? So, right, and then we will have. Maybe we should stick to the same kind of colourway, but we want a little. Maybe another little floral collection. A little floral collection. What's that? Which way round is that? That's quite big. A lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Could have a bird, although a bird and a dog. Not sure, although, you know, flower and a dog, not really. Maybe that one. Maybe that one there. Possibly. Let's go for what else have we got in this similar sort of colourway. Then I think, oh, that's quite nice, that bit there. I think this piece is going to be the piece that we go for. Just a little bit. Still, paper still hanging out. We could have blank bit, and we might have a thing from here. This one says number. Is that kind of that's sticking out. So if we have this in the corner here, yep, I like that. Yep, let's do that. So I do try to stay to a 3-piece composition, but don't always. So going rogue today with my additional pieces. So we'll put that on there. Let's stick that down. Oh, hang on. Let's just think about the composition, Dave. So we want that on there. We might have him. Do we want him there? Do we want him there? Maybe him there. We could have this bit under there. And then just try and pick that up without. Can have maybe that and that. Yeah, let's do something like that. Okay, so I'm not too worried about the composition of the ones on top. Let's try and get that in the right sort of place. So I like it like that. So, bit of glue on the back of there, and it kind of just sit out at the bottom. There we go, and then we can turn it over. And I know I haven't inked that one, but there we go. I have now. Flip it over, and then glue it all down. I've got playing in my head New York City Girl. You grew up right in the subway, running with people down in Harlem, up on Broadway. You're no tramp, but you're no lady. I love that song. I play that very loud, and it's just, I don't know, it just makes me feel good. And I sing it loud, sing it proud, and I sing it like nobody's listening, which really is a very good job that nobody is listening, because they'd be like, please don't sing it loud. Sing it to yourself, Dave. But yeah, I love that track. Oh my gosh, as soon as it comes on, the beginning of that saxophone, oh, it sends chills down my spine. It's another one that I used to do my roller disco days too. I used to go there on my own roller discoing, because it was, I felt really, well, I never felt like particularly connected to anybody really, so I did have friends, but you know, didn't really feel, and I felt more like acquaintances maybe when I was doing those sort of things. Never really fitted in with many crowds, to be fair, but I loved going roller discoing. I could just lose myself in the music. I've always been a bit like that with dancing as well. I definitely dance like nobody's watching, even if you are watching, because I just lose myself in the music, and dance the night away. There's another song in that, but I won't sing that one to you. So, Right, so there we go. So that's what we've got. This spins round still. Do we want a little journaling space maybe in there? Possibly we'll use a bit of, got a bit of coffee dyed paper. In fact, that could be the piece that I use. I'm just going to tear it so it's a little bit less. Although that doesn't look very good, does it, Dave? Another piece. Oh, is that a squashed spider in there? A freebie. You're a native New Yorker. No one opens the door for a native New Yorker. Right, how big do we want it? Gonna go big or go home, Dave. So I'm home already, so that, let's go, where are we going now? Let's go to, oh, don't try and squash the Dauber in the process. What has the Dauber ever done to you? Not a lot. So we'll do that. And then on there, to there. You see, it's not normally like me to finish things on a Monday, but, well, I can't remember actually. Do I normally finish things on a Monday? Oh yes, no, I think I do sometimes, but not always. Oh, let's ink the edges of this. Right, let's get a nice warm tone. Let's use this, because this is brushed corduroy. It's a little bit warmer. It goes nicely with the, it's very caramelly sort of look, so it goes well with the background. That's what's it called? Craft card is very similar colourway. Might put an officey sort of stamp on it. Just use me giant stamp because everybody loves this, and I love it too. You know, can't lie, love it. We'll use it in green. Let's just scramble them numbers because otherwise they're the same on everything. No, that's that one. Let's do that. 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 Oh, that one's not been used. Let's do that, and let's do the one on here that's not been used. Let's do that one. Nicely inked. Stick it on here. Right, let's put something in the background so it doesn't just stamp my desk. There we go. Cool, fab, brilliant. Cool, fab, brilliant. All of the above. Pop that on there. Might even stick a sticker on there as well. Like a, could have a washi sticker on this, couldn't we? Yeah, let's put that on. I like that. That's good. Okay, so maybe a flower from this. Let's get a washi sticker version. Don't have many washi stickers left. And those that I do, I think are more wishy-washy than washi stickers. Oh, what's that? There's one there in the background. What's that? Does that almost feel like... Oh my gosh, that feels like it was right. It's stuck in the background. So I think, yeah, something like that. That will be perfect. Okay, let's ink that down as well. So it blends in nicely. Now, I don't know, I'm not a native New Yorker, but apparently nobody opens the door for a native New Yorker, so you need to tell me. Is that true? Although nobody opens the door for anybody these days, so... Oh, I love it. It's a little bit creased. Let's just see if we can pull that crease out. There we go, yep. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yep, I love that. Cool. Okay, so got that. I might just ink the edge of this. Let's put the lid on that down because that's horribly wrong, isn't it? Let's use this colour. Just ink around the edge. I think that kind of helps it to tie in. Right, let's just spin that round so out of the way. I don't think I'm going to put much more on it, if I'm going to put anything on it at all. I think it might be, dare I say, it might be complete. Is it complete? I've got space to write stuff inside. I've got space in there. I think maybe right. Okay, so you knew that was going to happen, didn't you? He says he's finished. We know he's not. I know, you know me better than I do, so that's great. I think maybe we just need to have something along here. Oh, it's fine. Adds to the authenticity, doesn't it? Put that on there. We'll do... Again, got a bit there that didn't come off. And then ink around the edge of that, and we'll put something on there, but we'll keep this one a bit more simple. Maybe just a, I don't know, maybe just a, trying to see if I can find another washi tape sticker. See if something presents itself to us. Or, I did like these birds in here, so maybe a bird. There's two of them, that's fine. Do I feel I can use it if there's two? I do feel I can use it. Oh, yes, I like that indeed. Right, let's just do this edge. Bit heavy-handed. I've just bent his branch. At least it wasn't his beak or his tail. So, oh, it's pretty. Pretty bird. Not yellow bird. I won't sing that. I think I sing that every flaming time. So I'm going to stick you like that. So you kind of just sit over the edge a bit. And then I will stick this down. Get it glued down quick before the bit that's sticking out of him doesn't, before that dries. Bad girl, talking about a sad girl. I don't know where that one's come from. Is that a 70s track? Bad Girl? Is it like somebody like Donna Summer or somebody that sang that? I don't know. Don't necessarily know who the artists are, other than me. Although I'm not an artiste. Not in that way, I am not. I'm meant to be a paper artiste. Even then, I would... Other people might say I am. So, but I think I have turned out a nice piece here. So I won't do a full tidy up. In fact, I will do a full tidy up and I'll come back to you. Yeah. So there we are. I have finished it. So, and tidied up as well. So that is our little spinning thing. So like I say, the spins round on the front. You could have it that way. I did it this way. You could have it that way. It sits nicely in the center either way, and it looks cool. I certainly think it looks cool. It just adds a bit of interest, just in different cards, something to interact with. I love cards that have got some kind of interactivity, or journaling spaces that have got interactivity to it. You could have a little secret space that is only revealed like either side of it when it's turned sideways. You could do whatever you like with it, really. You could have, actually, you could even have two of the same size card that sit together that turn. I'm sure there are so many other things that could be done. But this was just something to give you a bit of inspiration. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's something that you might try, or even just go, you know what, that's not for me. Either way, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down if you prefer. Do you know what? Interactivity is interactivity. The YouTube algorithm likes them both. So please feel free to comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. So my name is Dash of Dave, and I love you all without exception, until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, folks. Lots of love. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Lots of hugs. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.